Welcome to The Plus Ones, a podcast serving wedding advice and hot takes from the Blue Ridge to the upstate. I'm Taylor, your co-host, and I share this platform with my good friend and wedding planner, Kat. We're seasoned wedding plus ones who aren't afraid to say the quiet parts out loud. So whether you're newly engaged or knee-deep in vendor quotes, we're here to help you make sense of the madness. Let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're so glad to have you here. Today's episode is going to be about why you should hire a wedding planner.
Yay! Because you definitely should.
Yes, you should. I know you guys hear us say this probably literally every single episode. Like, this is the one thing that we are just like constantly beating into everybody's heads. So we were like, we just need to do an episode on this.
Yeah. Really, I just kind of want to walk through Taylor Parker's worst nightmare, which is when she shows up to a wedding and she knows there's not a wedding planner or coordinator in sight.
Yeah, that is my worst nightmare, actually.
And really, Taylor, kind of tell us what happens when there isn't a planner. Like, what's the first thing that you have to do now that you know that there's no planner or coordinator?
So it's crazy because you think that like just because you don't have a wedding planner, that the hard parts about that wedding are going to be the day of, but not having a wedding planner, I don't know if you can hear my baby screaming, but if you can, just ignore it. Not having a wedding planner the effects of not having a wedding planner start long before the wedding day.
Okay.
So I'm talking a year out. I'm helping my clients find vendors. I'm helping them get their timeline under control.
Sounds like a nightmare, considering you already have.
I just like, I let it defeat me there for a second.
I understand.
Just thinking about it is overwhelming because it's a lot. It feels like we have a whole hour to talk about this. So I don't want to just like trauma dump all of the reasons why I wish my clients hired wedding planners. But at the same time, it's like, this is just the truth of it, you know? I think for me personally, and I know that all of the other wedding vendors are also so affected by not having a wedding planner as well. So I can't speak for them. But for me as a photographer, it's hard because I feel a lot of the times like I'm juggling two different jobs while trying to focus on my job.
And there's a reason why you don't offer wedding planning services as part of your package.
Yeah, I mean, I do offer timeline planning services and I don't mind to help with that. And I actually enjoy building timelines and that's great. But there's also like to an extent, it's hard for me to know the ins and outs of everything that's happening. It's not my job to know all of these things at the extent that a wedding planner would know these things.
Yeah.
Like I want to show up and I want to serve my clients as best as I possibly can, doing the job that I'm there to do. And I'm not saying I don't want to have like a relationship with my clients or I don't want to know all the things that are going on. I do. And I send extensive questionnaires and I ask extensive questions. So that's not quite what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to put into words. So I feel like I'm struggling a little bit because I don't want people to think that I'm saying, oh, I don't really want to be super hands-on because that's not true. But I don't mind leading up to that day to be hands-on. But once the day is there, I cannot help you with the ins and out of what's going on your wedding day. I'm there to perform my service and to give you my best. And I cannot give you my best if you're asking me questions like where the linens are or when the florist is arriving. These are things that I don't know. And frankly, I shouldn't know.
Yeah. That's what I was just about to bring up is kind of everything that's outside of your scope. You know, timeline, first look, introductions, that stuff. Fine, great. But you would also have to juggle what time hair and makeup is starting. And based on what time hair and makeup is starting is what time the transportation is starting and what time everybody needs to be at the church and all of those things that go along with that, again, should be outside of your scope. And I understand that a lot of photographers and vendors get put into these situations by clients, you know, that are either asking nicely or it seems really easy, but then all of a sudden you're running the wedding day and it's not going great and it's really overwhelming because now you have not only your own job to do as a photographer, a caterer, florist, whatever, but now you're running the whole day.
I think one of the most common questions I get, like this is always every wedding that I shoot that doesn't have a planner, The number one question everybody is asking me is, where are the boutonnieres? I'm like,
That's
best
so random.
bestie, I have no idea where the boutonnieres are. I am the photographer. I'm not the florist. I'm not the wedding planner. I know it's so random, but it's every wedding, I swear. They're like, where are the boutonnieres? Where are the groom's boutonnieres? Who's going to put these boutonnieres on? Are you going to put these boutonnieres on? I'm like, I'm happy to put the boutonnieres on, but I don't know where they are. You got to find them.
And then again, if you're putting the boutonnieres on, let's say that takes, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 5 to 10 minutes out of whatever your 8 hour package is that they're not getting photos. So if you
Putting,
break it down, it's not cost effective. It's
putting,
not.
putting a boutonniere on a groomsman is such a small task that you would not think like, oh, that's a big deal. It's really not to me. But the point that I'm trying to make is that pinning a boutonniere is so small, you wouldn't think there would need to be a person for it. But when all of those small things add up, you realize that they're not so small. And
Yeah.
it's all day long. You're needing questions answered. You're needing to know where things are. You're needing to know where people go. That is why you need a wedding planner.
And think about it, like on wedding day, me as a wedding planner and coordinator, I'm busy. I never sit down. I am constantly doing something.
Yeah.
So imagine if all of those things that I do throughout a wedding day are now broken up and dispersed throughout your wedding vendors. Most of the times, not, you know, easily.
No.
And it's kind of a show. The biggest thing about, not hiring wedding planner, I think it's cost because it is a luxury to be able to be taken care of and to know that your wedding day is going to be good. But God, this is going to sound so bad. There are less expensive options. And I'm not saying your aunt or your cousin or your friend that it dreams about being a wedding planner. I'm not saying that's the best thing to do because you do want it to be someone that's relatively removed from your wedding day so that if shit just does go wrong, you can say, hey, this is not how it was supposed to be. Whereas if it was your aunt, cousin, family friend, wherever, you might not feel comfortable going up to them and correcting them.
Yeah.
And because they're doing you a favor.
The entire reason that I even hired a wedding planner was so that my mother would sit down.
Yeah.
If you know my mom, if anybody is listening to this and they know my mother, Miss Wendy Parker, who's probably listening to this actually herself, that never sits down. I mean, she's like a crackhead. She never sits down. And I was like, I knew that if she thought there were things that needed to be done, that she would not enjoy herself.
Yeah.
And that she would push herself and she would be so tired and so exhausted. And she would have had to do all these things that are just not her job. Her job was to support me and to be there for me and to enjoy the day because it's only once. And my experience as a bride, I only get this one wedding day. My parents had the same experience. They only get my wedding day once.
Yeah. There's no do-over.
No. And I think a lot of people forget that. It's like, oh, it's fine. And to me, as a wedding professional, hiring a wedding planner it's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like it's like if I'm having a wedding, I am hiring a wedding planner. It's people think it's a negotiation, that it's something like, oh, we don't really need it. So we don't like kind of like videography, like, oh, well, we don't really need videography. We don't have to have videography. So let's, it's pinned to the end. Like, oh, well, maybe we'll have the budget for it or whatever. But if I were planning a wedding and I did plan a wedding and this is exactly what I did, wedding planning was like number one on my list.
Yeah.
It wasn't number 25 on my list. It was number one on my list because I knew I couldn't have a wedding by myself without having that support system there.
And this kind of came to me. I think I must have seen like a venue talking about it though. But this sounds stupid. But basically, like, you're not getting married alone. So why should you plan it alone?
That's true. That's cute, actually.
I thought it was kind of cute, even though it's kind of a nonsensical, but
I think people don't know what they don't know. I think I said this in my last episode about the shot list. I think people, especially people who don't know the wedding industry and the ins and outs like you and I know, they don't know what they really need. And I think there's a stigma around wedding planning that, oh, it's optional. You only need a wedding planner if you're having 300 wedding guests, or you're having this huge 12-hour wedding day. And that's just simply not the case.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But
I mean, like we were saying earlier, planning a wedding comes with a million and one decisions, moving parts, emotional moments, and a wedding planner is there to help you take it off of your plate, and to kind of bring some ease into the process because it can be so overwhelming with all of the little micro decisions that you have to make. And the fact that you would have somebody there as like a buddy, it makes you feel so much less alone. It can be an extremely isolating process for some reason because
if,
you're having to navigate so many different dynamics.
if I put you on the spot and I told you to list 10 micro tasks that you have to deal with at weddings that couples wouldn't expect to deal with, could you do it? Tell us what it is and how you handle it versus if the bride and groom were to handle it.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Seating chart. Overall
Oh,
seating
wait,
chart.
not ready. My baby's screaming. Patrick wants to know if you want to have children.
No.
Why? My life is so.
I know. And I'm just not as selfless as you.
Thank you.
I'm just not. Like,
Uh,
I don't have that in me.
Thank you so much for acknowledging that. I'm selfless. Okay, so we had a little break there, guys. Sorry about that. My baby was screaming and he still is technically, but um my question to Kat was, could she list off the top of her head? I put her on the spot. 10 micro tasks that wedding planners do that couples wouldn't expect to have to do themselves on the wedding day. Could number one be find the boutonnieres?
I mean, I always know where the boutonnieres are, except there was this one time the florist literally forgot the boutonnieres. And then, I'm sorry, we had assumed that the florist had forgotten the boutonnieres. But when I called them, they were like, no, the bride never placed an order for the boutonnieres.
Oh
And
my God.
this was one of those weddings that I instantly regretted taking because of all the red flags. And the bride blamed me, blamed me, even though I repeatedly had asked for a final floral order because I like to see this stuff so that I have it in my hands. And I
Oh.
had let it go because I felt bad. I had asked so many times. I figured they had it together. And then it's my fault. Okay. So you said top 10 things that I do on a wedding day that most people would not assume.
Yes.
Um, I mean, and it really starts during the planning process. We
Yeah.
decide.
It doesn't have to be on the wedding day. It could be any time during the period of hiring a wedding planner.
So deciding how you're going to display your seating chart, deciding, the logistics of that, how they're coming into the space versus where cocktail hour is versus when dinner is. Deciding how many chairs you need for your wedding ceremony, deciding where your decor enhancements are going for the wedding ceremony, deciding how those decor enhancements like flowers or any of that stuff from the wedding ceremony is going to get repurposed into the reception space and how it's going to get moved. Because 9 times out of 10, it's not your florist because your florist is already set up and done. Your florist, they pulled out of the parking lot at 2:30 p.m. because their job was over.
Mm.
They delivered the flowers. Now it's up to your planner or somebody, I guess. I really don't think I've ever attended a wedding without a planner. That tells you anything. Um, it's up to somebody to make sure that those pieces get repurposed. Let's see what else I have. Guest book pens get left off a lot. Um, and that's why I always have backup. And I make sure to have that discussion with you guys, with, clients prior to that. Card box gets missed all the time. People forget about the card box. And a lot of people will say, it's 2025. We don't think that people are going to bring cards or they're not going to bring gifts. It's always the weddings that don't think that they need a card box that have like 50 cards. I don't know why, But it's just kind of the rule of thumb for weddings. Like if you don't think you're going to need something, you're going to need it. I remember there was one time I had a bartending team show up without a single bottle opener. That was fun. So I always make sure that I have those extension cables. For some reason, that's a really big one that I always have to bring with me. Boutonnieres, like we were talking about earlier. I always have to keep track of, where those boutonnieres are going, where they end up. I make sure to communicate with the florist on exactly where I need them so that when it's ready for the groom and the groomsmen and everybody to get ready, that I know where they are and that they are ready before the photographer needs them. We were just talking about how important that is to know. I don't really understand why certain things get left off, like boutonnieres or guest book pens, but it's just something that having somebody that's in the wedding industry on your side can help you remember. And that's not your photographer, and that's not your venue, and that's not your caterer. This is the little that I have in the back of my mind, and I have to know exactly what and where it needs to be. Napkins are really important not to forget. A lot of times, I'll start talking with clients prior to the wedding, and I'm like, hey, what kind of napkin fold do you like? What kind of color? What kind of texture? What kind of linen? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, wait, we didn't even think about napkins.
Like who thinks about their napkin fold?
Yeah, exactly. And like,
No
this is
one.
not
Yeah.
stuff that, you need to be taking vigorous notes about, but it is just that stuff that comes alongside of having a wedding buddy like myself. Table number holders, frames for the bar menus, the easel for the seating chart. You can think, okay, I remembered to have the seating chart or I remembered to pack the table numbers, but how are you going to display those pieces? And it's just that extra stuff that I already have in my templates and in all of my processes that kind of goes along with that.
I have a few.
Okay, let's hear it.
Um, a big one is bouquet preservation.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Like what is happening to your flowers at the end of the night? Because if you don't have a plan for that, they're getting thrown away. You paid thousands of dollars for these flowers to get thrown away.
Yep.
I don't think that is a huge one because I swear people don't realize that. They're like, what happens to my flowers at the end of the night? I don't know because I'm drunk and I'm going off to bed.
Yeah.
Like, then you leave them. Your flowers come to strike. They pick them up, they throw them away. Like those are flowers. They're yours. You paid for them. You can preserve them. I kept all my flowers.
Oh,
I donated half to the local nursing homes and the other half I preserved for all of our grandparents and great grandparents.
what did you make with them or what did you do?
Little frames, like shadow boxes for each one. And
Cool.
that was really special to me because they didn't go to waste. I paid money for them and they got to live on somehow. And so I think a lot of people forget about that. Another one is, and maybe you can tell me if I'm right. I have heard you mention this before, but I want to just clarify. Is it not your job to figure out how far in between the tables, like the
Yes.
distance in between tables and things?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, who the plans for that if not
I
you?
I I do.
What, they
But
just throw up, they just show up and guess?
I see, and again, I don't really have any frame of reference. I don't attend or obviously go to a lot of weddings where there's not a planner. I don't even really know what that looks like. But I can tell you what I do
It's
is that
fast.
on my little aisle planner floor plan diggy my bob, it shows me, how far apart they need to be with like the 6 foot parameter so that people can get in and out.
Yeah, that's
And
so
that's
crazy.
how we end up with these beautiful floor plans
I didn't
that
realize that that was part of your job until I became friends with you.
how? Like,
I
and it's just like for me, I'm like, duh.
Yeah, but it's not. A lot of people don't know. Like for the things you know, yeah, a lot of people don't know those things. Like that's the whole point of this. Another one is vendor confirmation times.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a huge one. This is a huge one that oftentimes is kind of I get roped into often. Like somebody needs to be able to confirm vendor confirmation times. Please, please back me up here. This is so important.
Yeah. No, it is because otherwise your mom or whoever booked the vendor is going to have to pull out their phone. They're going to have to look through their email. They're going to have to see when their last email was sent. And oh, wait, they were given two different arrival times and you're not sure which one is right. And you can't find their phone number because you can't find their contract because it's on a different, it can keep going and going and going. I really think that maybe we should do an episode where we break down a timeline of mine because my timelines are so.
That would be fun. We should do that. For those of you who haven't hired a wedding planner and don't really know what to expect when hiring a wedding planner, your planner gets in contact with every single vendor that you hire and confirms a confirmation time, confirms all the details, all the expectations, everything. So you don't have to be doing this. And we're talking like dozens of emails, and we're talking like several months before, multiple reach outs. Like it's a whole thing.
And this is also kind of going alongside, like, let's say you've already hired a planner or a coordinator or whatever. Make sure that you're getting them that information. The amount of times that I have to harass clients, and I feel bad about it because so then I go and do my own, independent research. But what do you know? The caterer doesn't have a website, or, the photographer is, one of 15 of that same name. So, anyways, it's important that you get those contracts to your planner or coordinator as soon as they're signed.
Yeah, another thing, they organize contracts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just, hey, listeners, hey, plus ones.
Hi.
Are you with us? Are you still here? Are you with us? Because I know this is a lot of information and I don't want to scare you all away. But also, I feel like after hearing this, like it has to be so obvious that you must have a wedding planner. What do you guys think? What are we thinking? It's like
again, I think that we should talk more about like why people are hesitant to hire a planner or coordinator.
Yes.
Number one thing that I see is budget. I get that. You could easily use that money to go towards flowers or a car payment or, better linens or whatever. And the second thing is, I think a lot of people are hesitant to give up control, to give up, or they're embarrassed about, oh, we're 6 months away from our wedding day and I don't have a clue on vendors or whatever. There is no shame in this. Absolutely none. Did I tell you about the wedding that I planned in less than 8 weeks?
No.
In like 2022?
That's awesome.
And I don't shame them. I have a lot of funny stories about it. But again, they had been engaged for, I think, at least a year at that point, if not more. But they just were so overwhelmed with their daily lives and they were just busy. And all they really wanted was a big party. And they got it because that was on their side.
Okay. I just wanted to touch on you saying that some people are afraid to let go of the control. And hiring a wedding planner doesn't mean that your wedding or your plan.
You got this.
Help me.
I believe in you.
Hiring a wedding planner doesn't mean that your wedding planner literally plans your wedding. You make all the decisions and your wedding planner executes those decisions.
Yeah, I'm a wedding executor.
Yeah, that's actually what it is. Like she's not like picking out your colors or picking out what decor you like. She's helping guide you through that, but the base is what you guys want. And like she's just there to put her input, about how it might go, but you get to plan your wedding. I think a lot of people are like, oh, no, I have my ideas and I want to do it. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works.
Oh, and I mean, I even remember when, before I had even gotten into the wedding industry, I was like, no, I'll plan my wedding.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't been in the wedding industry, I think that I would have had that same mindset of like, well, I can do it.
Yeah. I mean, what you don't know, you don't know. And I think that is a curse. A lot of people don't know they need a wedding planner. Genuinely, I have come across this so many times. And 10 out of 10 times when I shoot a wedding, or I even have a friend who doesn't hire a wedding planner, they come to me every time, 100% of the time. It is not like once in a while. It is every time. And they're like, I didn't realize this was, and they don't enjoy their experience as a bride or a groom because they didn't get the chance to, because they were so overwhelmed with all of these details that were supposed to be in the wedding planner's hands and they weren't because they didn't know they needed one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, also, I think back, a lot of people probably just will be like, oh, that photographer, she's so tall. Why should I take her advice?
Uh, I'm too tall. It's
Yeah. It
it's
means she's untrustworthy.
it's kind of creepy. I think all of our episodes are definitely subject to piss people off, but at the same time, I think honesty is everything. And if it helps one person, then we've done our job.
I do want to introduce a new segment that I think we should do at the top of the episode, Corrections Corner, because my dad, first of all, he really wanted a shout out. He got mad on last episode because Patrick's dad got a shout out and he didn't. So here's your shout out. And second, he had several corrections for me. Not only on certain vocab words that I just made up, but most importantly, I use the term flora and fauna to refer to florals. But then he said fauna is like animals and hamsters and stuff. You should not be using those as table decor or as part of a bride's bouquet. So,
I thought
corrections corner.
fauna is like hamsters and stuff.
So, yeah.
You should not be using hamsters as your wedding
But then I also was like, damn, that's
centerpiece.
kind of cool. I don't know if you're into like taxidermy and
He's right.
stuff.
He's right. Flora and fauna.
I know I
Fauna.
had to Google it because I didn't believe him. I was like, no, he's totally fing with me.
This is hilarious. Oh my God. This is funny as hell. Hamster centerpieces are the next wedding trend. It's,
Artichokes are out. Hamsters are
oh my
in.
God. What else did he say? Did I say anything wrong?
No, I should have taken notes. But I was kind of walking my dog at this time. But I'm sure that, after this episode airs, he'll have several more corrections and notes for me.
That is so funny. I don't even know. I just can't move on. Okay. So I do have a couple questions to focus back on what we were talking about. What are some things that you want people to know about hiring wedding planners?
That I'm really fun and I help the wedding process be a lot less isolating, like I was saying before. We've all been through it. We've been doing this for centuries, and it can be really lonely for some reason, even though you have a wedding party and you have, potentially parents that are helping you and you've got all these vendors, you still can get wrapped up in the cycle of all of these little micro decisions and all these things that you feel like you're forgetting. And that's why you have a planner. And not only a planner, but a planner like me that has a platform like Aisle Planner, or I don't know what other platforms there are. Honeybook, I think, is one. I've always used Aisle Planner.
Our planner
Um,
is awesome.
that keeps a detailed planning checklist that houses your timelines, the templates to make sure that you're not forgetting a thing.
Yeah. Another thing I think an interesting take is hiring a wedding planner helps give you somebody in your corner
Hmm.
because I know a lot of people get pushback from their families. I know we have mentioned this in the past, but a lot of time people have trouble with their parents like not liking a certain executive decision that the bride and groom are making, and your
Yeah.
planner is such a good hype girl, like somebody to have in your corner to be like, yes, you can do what you want and I'm going to execute it for you.
Yeah. And I mean, you could have the best relationship ever with your mom or dad, but I've been in that rental room several times now, that rental showroom where the mother of the bride is pulling out linens that the bride I know didn't have on her design board, that
Mhm.
I know isn't going to be a huge fan of. And I have to look back at that bride and I have to say, bride, is this what you really want? And I can just tell by the way they say, it's fine, that I
Mm.
have to step in and say, Mom, that overlay is hideous. Please go put it back. Also, nobody's doing overlays anymore.
I tell all of my clients, like, I can be the bad guy and you're not gonna Like, it's not going to hurt my feelings. If you want me to piss somebody off for you, like, I'm happy to do it. They're never going to see me again, likely. Like, if I have to be the one to be like, hey, brother's girlfriend, get out of this photo for one. So
Hmm.
you don't have to do it. And then people aren't mad at you for saying it. I am happy to do it.
I had,
I am at your service. Like, I work for you, girl.
hmm
If you want me to tell them that you don't want so and so in the photos, I'll do it.
100%.
Well,
Well, and usually, isn't it the photographer like bringing me into the situation and being like, "Hey, can you tell, the brother's baby mama to get out of the photo?" And then I have to do it.
I don't know. Usually it's me.
It's always me.
Okay, I'm happy to know that I can put that on somebody else. Thrilled. Thrilled. I'll take that. I'll take it. Okay, so anything else you want to add? This seems like a
One
quick
thing,
quick episode.
so I do a lot of downtown weddings, downtown Greenville, and it's very public. It's very, walker friendly and whatever. Sometimes we get wedding crashers that see
Mm.
an open bar, they see a bride in a dress, and they're like, "Oh, you know, free beer." And last year, I just remember there was a bunch of wedding crashers, and it was during Fall for Greenville. And if I can tell they're wedding crashers, I'll go tell security. The issue is if it's kind of like a mix where like maybe the girl is in like a cocktail dress and like the dude is in khakis, where it's kind of like, ooh, like I don't know. I have to go grab the mother of the bride and say, "Do you know them?" And if they say no, then I go take care of it. The mother of the bride is not escorting anybody out of that building.
I shot a wedding once and the bride emailed me back and was like, "Hey, you know, we love the photos. We found a photo in there of some people we don't know from the reception."
No!
Yes.
Could you imagine?
Apparently they asked me like, "Oh, can we have a group photo?" And I was like, "Sure." So it happens. People think they're not wedding crashers, crazily enough.
It really only happens at like these downtown, easily accessible venues.
Yeah, it was a hotel, so
Yeah,
people were
like
at the
hotels.
hotel, yeah.
Not saying that we need to up the security or anything, but
Why you should hire wedding security. That's the next episode.
mm,
Okay, another question I had, and then we can wrap it up, is what are the most common questions that people ask you about wedding planning?
typically on an inquiry call, like the biggest thing is, not necessarily why I can be in or how I can be involved, but what will this process look like, based on the three different packages? What will a full planning wedding look like versus a day of coordination wedding look like? Um, and really the biggest thing that I have to explain to people is time, how much time you want to put into this, how much you really want to leave up to God, and how much you want to put into our hands. Do you want us involved from the very start, or do you want us involved? Our day of coordination package starts 3 months beforehand. And for the most part, with those packages, I'm taking over all vendor communication, um, which I will say is a very elevated service, even though we're calling it day of coordination. But I just couldn't, in my right mind, call it anything else than that because I knew that that was something that people wanted and something that brides desired and didn't want to break the bank on it. So that's why I still offer day of coordination. Did I answer your question? I kind of forgot what it was.
I think you answered it. I'm tired.
I'm sorry.
Mm.
I would not be good at your job.
The job of being a mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. All right, guys. So that is today's episode on why you
Yeah.
should hire a wedding planner. I hope that we helped you kind of figure out whether or not my sentences are just not forming today.
I hope that we were able to help you navigate the decision on whether or not you feel like you need a wedding planner or a wedding coordinator. This obviously is something both important to both Taylor and I. If you guys have any questions, hop into our Facebook group. We'll be happy to answer any of them.
Yeah, if you guys seriously, if you have any questions at all, like if you feel like we missed something or didn't cover something, just shoot us a DM on Instagram or yeah, go over to the Facebook group and ask questions there because we love our community over there.
Send us hate mail. I'm up
Send,
for it.
send us hate mail. Cat.
I have always open to criticism.
Send us hate mail is not what I would suggest. We could
I
talk
can
it out
handle it.
first.
I can handle it.
I know you can. Okay. So, yeah, that is today's episode. Let us know what you guys think. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, join our Facebook group, and subscribe to all the things. Follow us on Spotify. Yeah, just stay connected with us. We're happy that you guys are here.
Rate us on Spotify too. Taylor says that's important.
Yes, go give us 5 stars on Spotify.
It's super easy. It's literally 2 buttons. It's kind of
Yeah.
stupid how easy it is. I don't really know what the point of it is, but
Yeah,
Taylor says it's important.
Yes, it's important. Go do that, please. Okay, cool. So until next time, thanks for being a +1, guys.
Lord Farquaad, out.